Multi-directional speed tip number 1. Improve functional movement first. If we jump right into speed and agility drills using ladders and cones and having people do things explosively, cutting back and forth and lateral bounding, we could potentially put them in a situation where they're not only going to be really inefficient at their cuts with lack of range of motion in their ankle or their hips, but also put them at risk of injury. So we want to make sure that we're doing things to improve that person's functional movement, especially through the ankles and hips, so that they can get in the right shapes and positions to be able to be effective in and out of their cuts. Multi-directional speed tip number 2, having good body awareness and alignment. Just like functional movement is a prerequisite to being able to do agility drills, we also want to have that athlete's ability to understand where their base of support is, their feet, in relation to their center of mass, usually their hips and their torso. That's the heaviest part of your body. So if I'm moving very fast to the left, I want to have that person have a really good awareness of their posture and alignment going in and out of that cut. If they don't have that good body awareness drills like loaded carries with kettlebells or doing things where they have to work on their posture with core training, if I don't do those drills, they're going to have what's called upper body sway when they go to cut. That's going to make them inefficient as well as more prone to injury when they're doing this. At the end of the day, we want them to be able to create force into the ground to send their body in a direction. If their alignment and posture isn't there, it could be because they just can't feel where they are. They don't have good awareness. If we could give them that awareness before we go through those drills, they're going to be very, very effective getting in and out of those cuts. Multi-directional speed tip number 3, teaching drills in pieces. A lot of times when you see people do agility drills, they're doing these really complex things that might seem really fun and cool, but you rarely see them getting in the positions that they need to be in their cuts or their acceleration. So what I like to do is teach this stuff in pieces. First, can people understand what base position is, not getting too far to their toes, not getting too far to their heels, maintaining that good solid position through their foot. Then, can they work on shuffles and be really effective and good at the shuffle? Then can they be really good at slamming on the brakes? Then can they be really good at cutting and pushing themselves back? Then can they be really good at crossovers? These are all individual pieces of what sometimes are a lot of drills where people are putting this stuff together. I want to teach it as a progression, right? Do these little things over time in pieces so that they perfect it. And when we put it all together, it looks really, really good. It's really safe, and it's actually going to help them on the field. Multi-directional training tip number 4, using speed but with good technique. A lot of times when you see people doing speed and agility drills, they tend to go super fast, which I get it. That is the point. We want to get faster at our footwork. But at the same time, when it's a pre-programmed drill where I have a cone or a ladder or lines on a field and I know where I'm going to change direction, people tend to kind of cut corners a little bit. Maybe they don't get as deep into the cut and as explosive as they normally would, or they shorten their stride on one of the crossovers, right? We want to make sure we're maintaining those techniques that we learned in those individual pieces. Now we're putting it all together and we are trying to go fast, but I always want people in a position that they could change direction from, right? Because that is the definition of agility. It's not just doing a pre-programmed cone drill. It's never like that in the sport, right? The idea is I'm doing the drill, but at any moment, if someone gave me a command, I could jump or I could cut in a different direction. I want to be balanced and moving fast, but ready to do something else. Multi-directional training tip number 5, randomization. We want to make sure that we're progressing people from those pre-programmed drills with cones and ladders, where we're going fast but with good technique, but then also adding in an audible or visual cue, something that they can respond to, which is going to be way more like team sports that we play, where it's a chaotic environment, it's a random environment. You're not always going to be just doing the same movement back and forth. You're going to be doing a movement, have to react, and do something else. And that is a completely different skill set and technique to improve upon, taking in that stimulus and then having your body do a thing. Multi-directional training tip number 6, warming up to the surface. We talk so much about movement prep and warm up and how we're preparing our body to do the activities that we're going to do. Sometimes we forget about the idea that we are going to be on different surfaces depending on what sport we're playing or if it's a home or away match. We want to be used to right? How, when our foot hits the ground, how much of an angle can I create into the ground to change direction before I slip, right? So doing some shuffles and cuts on the sideline is going to warm my feet up to the turf that I'm on, whether it's raining, if I'm on a clay court versus a hard court, if I'm on a basketball court. This is all going to depend on how it is that day, right? How your body's feeling, how aggressive you can be into those cuts. That's going to determine how much force you put into the ground.